Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's been a couple weeks since I've been able to make a video. I had a guy living in my garage here. He was sleeping right over there. Not on the dog bed. Here. He was sleeping over there on my couch. Family member in a bad spot. Needed a place to stay, help get on his feet, sober up a bit. Catch up on some sleep, if you know what I mean. And well, it didn't work out so well. He was catching up on his sleep, and he just it was time for him to move along and maybe find somewhere else to stay for a couple weeks until his job starts and he can start getting some money to get his own place or whatever. But that's neither here nor there. But that's why I haven't been posting any videos, making any videos, filming any videos, working on anything in my garage at all. So he did help me the other day. We pulled Mr. Natural up into the garage here, and I swapped some tires around that won't go flat. You see, I got one that was on there that's already flat, but cast both your good eyes upon this fine piece of machinery here. Bam-o. This is my 1953 Chevy 3100 pickup that I call Mr. Natural. Naturally, like all these trucks, this cowl piece is all effed up, needs to be replaced. And I don't know if I've done a video on this one or not yet, but King of Booty Fab is probably going to send some guys down here from Canada to snag my wheels. But he don't know my address, so I think I'm probably safe. So yeah, here's the, this is why I call it Mr. Natural here. Mr. Natural says, if it feels good, do it. And I don't know about that hole, but I don't think it's going to feel good. So I ain't doing it. But the way I'm building this truck feels right. There's my BFG that's all flat. Overall, it's a pretty clean rig. I put these truck rally wheels on the front. I have the matching slots. I just couldn't get to them in the snow to have these tires put on them. And so I grabbed these out of my garage, and that's what I used. So over the next month or so, we're going to be working on getting this thing buttoned up so I can fire it up and drive it on it under its own power instead of having to pull it on a rope everywhere, in and out of the garage and whatnot. You see down here, the steering box is pretty close to that head. I guess they, back in the day when they would do these, they would move the steering box over 2 inches. That would give them enough room to put a manifold in there. Which I'm not a big fan of headers anyways. They rust out, they rot out, the gaskets blow out. They're not good for daily drivers, in my opinion. Maybe somebody else has got an opinion. I got this sweet Danish cookie tin up there spacing out my carb scoops, which this intake I'm probably not going to leave on here, to be honest. It's a stock 265. Supposed to have been rebuilt. It's got about maybe 20 miles or something on it, he said. And he had it in an all original restored 55 Chevy. And he decided it just wasn't enough power. So he bought, I believe he said he bought a 305 or something from a race car. And that's what he put in his nicely restored 55 Chevy. And then he sold the car, so I never even seen it. But I do have a million things. But up on the shelf, I've got the original intake, carb, air cleaner, canister filter, and all that. So I'm going to put that back in here on this engine. I am going to run this Delco Remy dual point distributor. I picked up at a swap meet last year. I think I paid $175 for it. It's all rebuilt. Super, super nice. I'm trying to build this thing as period correct as I can, other than I'm going to put disc brakes on it, and they didn't have BF Goodrich tires in 1960. And I changed my sign, my flag back there for those of you who might not be a fan of the Don. And I won't get into politics, but I didn't pay for the flag. It blew into my yard. I hung it up. Whatever. There it is. Like and subscribe for 2023. And keep America great by subscribing to my Harry Woodbilly channel. Anyways, back to the truck. So I put that sticker on there, the Grateful Dead. Back in the day when I drove this thing, we'd pile this bed of this truck full of kids, you know. Well, young adults. We were 18, 19, 17, 16. And we'd sit back there and, well, you can see there's a lot of leaves and seeds and sticks and whatnot in the back of there still. We weren't smoking oak, I'll tell you that. But, so here's the interior of this thing. It was redone in the early 80s. There was a point in my life where I kind of remember this being our only truck when I was growing up. You know, and my mom, my stepdad, myself being in here, you know, going to the beach. My brother and the dog in the back. Let's walk around here and get a little better. Actually, hold on. All right, so I went and got a light here. So the floor is effed. My welding, where I recessed that firewall, is also effed, but it's going to be good. I've got to raise this transmission cover panel up a half an inch or an inch or something to clear that shifter so it doesn't rattle and make noise on it. This is an old truck 4-speed with low range. It actually came out of a 4-wheel drive truck with a divorced transfer case, but that's what it is. I think it's an SM465 or an SM420, something like that. I put a new gas tank in here 20 years ago, something like that, 25 years ago. See, now in 1999 and 1998, I got the truck in 1998 for my 18th birthday. And This was my only rig for 2 years. And I drove it in the snow, and I drove it in the rain, and I drove it all over the place. And I made this little glove box door here out of plexiglass. I got my Edelbrock sticker in there from the catalog. I got my little fuzzy dice. I got some little paperclip poker deals all over, stuffed in everything. And I don't know if any of you remember Matrix bongs, but there's a sticker that come with one. And here's this pin I got from my buddy Bones, who works at the local CarQuest here in Grand Rapids. And that's been in there ever since he gave it to me. So anyway, so it didn't really have much of a heater. I took all the ducting out of it. I took the wipers off it right away because it was a hot rod. You know, I don't need that stuff where I'm going. And well, I did. There's a lot of times where I did actually need that stuff. And yeah, then let's see, then where did I go from there? Oh, so I had a 250 inline 6 motor in here that I rebuilt in high school. And I put some miles on it. And then I had a well, I had the same problem as my guy living in the garage had for a while there. And I had sold this truck. I had sold this truck for bail money at one time and bought it back. And I exploded the clutch because it got packed full of ice. I didn't have an inspection cover on it, on the bell housing. So the clutch and stuff got packed full of ice, and I blew that to smithereens. Fixed that, and then I was high as a kite and decided I wanted to put a split manifold and a dual carb intake on my 6-cylinder. And I bought the first one I could find at the swap meet, ripped the thing all apart, and it ended up being for a 235 and not a 250. So now I had my truck all tore apart, and I was doing a bunch of drugs, and I had no desire to put it back together. And I think that's what basically saved this truck from the scrapyard or from anything else being more wrecked on it was I was too high and too lazy. Well, I wasn't lazy. I was going in so many different directions I couldn't figure out what to do, and I probably forgot I even had the truck for 20 years. It came over to my mom's, now where I'm living, now that she's passed away. Sat in the yard here forever. The neighbors hated it. Whatever. I've got new bumpers for it. That's not the grill that was in it when I drove it. It had a chrome grill that's all kind of bent up and whatnot. This splash apron actually is off of a school bus that I had, a 52 Chevy school bus that ended up getting kind of, long story there, and ended up getting parked somewhere for a while, and they didn't want it in their yard anymore, so they had it scrapped without my permission, so I lost that. My mom hit it with a skid steer when she was moving it into our Morton building, and kind of messed this fender up, but I'll spend a little time on there. maybe. It doesn't bother me. It gives it character. It's a memory. It's got a good strong bumper on it. I do have a stock style rear bumper and brackets and taillights and a bunch of stuff that I've been collecting over the years. So I'll probably use my stock taillights in here, and then they got them little blinker deals I can put in the bed rolls, just to kind of make it look stock but still be kind of clean. This thing was kind of messed up. I don't know if you can see that, how it's bent. You can see how it's kind of bent there. It was way worse. I fixed it a little bit. I'll probably fix that some more. It shuts. It works. It needs some grease. Whatever. I say this side is pretty good. The cab corners probably need to be replaced eventually. And here's the hood. And yes, that is a 55 Chevy Hood Bird, because, like I said, this engine is a 1955 Chevy 265. So that's kind of my tip-off as to what's under the hood. And yeah. So there's a little bit about that. I noticed I got one there. I got one there. Maybe you can see it. Looks like there's one here. I'm gonna pretend like those are from the lawnmower, flinging rock chips up there, and not somebody with a BB gun shooting at my truck windows. I will say that this headlight is busted, and that is because of me. I bought a new pellet gun, 22 caliber Ruger pellet gun, spring action, pretty fancy job, had a nice scope on it. Still does. I just put the scope back on it actually. And I don't know, this thing sat out at the back of my farm property when we had that for a few years, and it was a few hundred feet away, and I popped that light right out of there with the pellet gun. So yeah, but anyways, so that's Mr. Natural, and we'll be seeing more of this in the weeks to come. I'm gonna try and post. I'm gonna try and post a video every week, every couple of days, maybe with a short. And yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for 2023's adventures. We got a trip planned here in February, and we're going to an awesome place. And I've never been there before, but I see it all the time, and there's going to be a bunch of my YouTube heroes there. Bike builders. So it's a bike show, I'll tell you that. And you know, I didn't really turn 21 in prison doing life without parole. I was 31 in prison, and I was doing 24 to 36 months for some dumb shit. So anyways, if that's a hint, that's my hint as to where we're going on our little trip here next month. And I probably won't video the drive out there, the whole thing, but I will definitely be videoing the event. And yeah, it's going to be a damn good time. Have a good one.